One of my favorite areas is the negotiation of a higher salary. There's no right or wrong answer to this, so it's imperative that this session remains interactive. You share with me your questions, concerns, some of the tough questions you may have experienced during an interview or at the point of negotiating hires or salary to begin with. For those of you new to the Job Talk, my name is Matt Peal. I'm one of the partners here at Impact Business Group. Oops, I'm trying to flip through this here. I'm going to talk to you real quickly. Bear with me here. All right, I think I got my mouse squared away here. I apologize again. Again, Impact Business Group, we're professional staffing, IT engineering, accounting, finance. So the information I'm going to share with you is from our 20-plus years of experience in this market, and want to walk through, most importantly, from the recruiter seat, how you can address those difficult questions with salary, with how to get the proper compensation for your role. As I'm scrolling through this, all this information you can find at impactbusiness.com. So don't hesitate to shoot any questions to me live while we're talking. This is, again, intended to be interactive, so take your mute button off and fire away with any questions that you have, okay? So how to negotiate a higher salary. It starts at the application level. When you fill out that application and the initial job, an interview or maybe the process is filling out that application online, fill it out accurately. You want to make sure you present where you're at today properly, whether your salary is way below the targeted compensation line or whether it's way above. You want to make sure you fill out that application accurately. I'm going to walk through some of the questions about compensation in the interview to better equip or prepare or lay the foundation for the appropriate compensation. We're going to talk a little bit about counteroffers and language used, and then finally any additional QA that you folks may have. But as I said, please interject with your questions right away. As I said, when you're filling out the application regarding your current compensation, be honest. As I said, whether you're above the compensation target or below, please tell them where you're at accurately. A lot of organizations are doing W-2 verification. This is tax season, so they may even ask you for a current tax statement. Under the expected compensation line, make sure you remain as flexible as possible. You can even say negotiable based on the right culture or opportunity. I use my garbage truck analogy. Everybody says, I would take $100,000 to pick up trash, and it's no disrespect to trash removal, but on a 90-degree day in a summer Michigan where the humidity's through the roof, the last thing I want to do, even at $100,000, is picking up somebody else's rubbish. So the money does not compensate for the environment, the culture, and what you're doing. So make sure as you fill out expected compensation, you're remaining flexible because you don't know anything about, right? This is your initial entree into an organization. You don't know anything about the company, the culture, and what types of people may work there or not. So don't kill yourself before the interview even starts. Because what those employers really are looking for is your flexibility. They know that compensation isn't the primary motivator for you to make a change, and that's why the spot is open for them. It's not because of compensation. It's finding the right fit. Okay? So when you fill out that app, make sure you tell them currently what you're making. Has there been any challenges or any questions so far for anybody there when it comes to filling out an application as it pertains to comp? Okay. Answering the question in the interview. What do you say to the person in human resources, or what do you say to that line manager you're interviewing with? And it's consistent with what I said in the last slide. In your current salary, be honest. Tell them what you make. Tell them what bonus you received last year, if at all, and what your expected compensation is. The answer to that is, I'm looking for an increase but the culture and the environment is the part that's most important to me. Don't say, hey, my peer just left and they got $20,000 more, or I'm a more valuable employee than person X. Be consistent throughout the entire process. Here's where I'm at. I've got flexibility, but I'm looking to obviously have an increase to make a move. It is an employee market right now, but you don't want to come across as such, meaning I won't make a move unless there's a 40% increase. Be flexible. Make sure you understand the culture, and understanding the culture of the environment you're applying to or role you're considering. Is there any questions that have been asked of you outside of those current salary, bonus, expected compensation that I'm not answering? Okay. We'll move through. Counter offers. We see this a lot where folks say, does this organization accept counter offers? Are they open to me presenting another a dollar amount to entice me to come to that organization? And my answer is always the same. If you are declining the offer as it sits today, then yes, you're going to want to ask if they have flexibility. But if you're saying whether they approve a counteroffer or more money in the base or not, you're taking the role, then I would say you need to evaluate the question. Is it really important to you for that extra $1 an hour or $2 an hour to have the potential of setting the wrong tone in that meeting? Some questions popped in for me here real quick. How do you feel about the new push to prohibit companies from asking what a candidate's current salary is? We haven't seen it from my standpoint. And again, it might be market specific in this Great Lakes region, but for the most part, we're not seeing companies being prohibited from asking what a candidate's current salary is. It's the opposite. We'll see more folks who will seek compensation verification, especially as tax season. What did your W-2 reflect? And that should be something everybody here on this call, I would hope, would be on the forefront of their minds as we go to pay our taxes each year. But a good question. But back to my counteroffers. If you are not going to accept their offer at the offered salary, then yes, you need to ask them, is there flexibility in this offer? By asking flexibility, you're not throwing out a hard number of saying I need to be at $50,000 greater or $5,000 greater. You're asking if there's flexibility. They will open the door to flexibility and tell you as such, or they're going to say no, we don't, and we've put our best foot forward, and you know where you stand. If the answer is no, I will not decline this offer, meaning I'm going to accept it as is no matter what, but I want to ask the question for more money, regardless, then I would say you run some dangers there. So you've got to be honest with yourself as you evaluate that and say, is this imperative to get more money in this role or not? The other thing to look at as you look at compensation before the counteroff is the package in its entirety. Are you eligible for a compensation review in the first year? If so, how many? What's the benefits comparison? What's the PTO comparison? Are there overtime? Is there 401k match? What's the history then of those bonuses? What can I reasonably expect if I am who I say I am and I perform at the level I'm supposed to be? You have to evaluate the total compensation holistically before you decide to counteroffer or accept this role. Any other experiences you folks have had or questions around counteroffers that I can answer? Okay. Any other questions that you folks have? Has to be something. Everyone, this is one of the hottest subjects that we deal with today, is negotiation of a higher salary.
I have a question, May.
Sure.
My name is Sue. I'm in Michigan. My experience, I've been out of work, unfortunately, for 3 months. I have an education. a vast amount of experience from defense, aerospace, past automotive, as well as including biodefense, pharmaceutical. My specialty is procurement, supply chain program, project management. It seems to be what I'm experiencing quite a lot, even up to this morning on my laptop, is positions coming at me that are extremely low-end, entry-level, for example, $18 an hour. And I've been in my field for well over 25 years. So it's very frustrating. I am having things come at me or phone calls received, but I that's what I'm experiencing. And a lot of the positions just don't pay or compensate enough to even think about driving or driving an hour distance with wear and tear on your vehicle, and et cetera, et cetera. And I don't know about the rest of the communities out there or where people are located, but that's what I'm experiencing here in Michigan. Wages just do not seem to be, whether you're an engineer or IT, wages just do not seem to be up to speed in our economy in general overall from what I'm detecting.
Yeah, unfortunately, wages are economics 101. It's indicative of the supply versus demand. But as it pertains to your personal situation, I wouldn't use the compensation as the absolute to making that decision whether you accept the role or even interview with the role. You have to understand the job description, just like your resume, is a one-dimensional document. It doesn't. The job description doesn't say everything that's going on behind the scenes. It doesn't say, hey, are you eligible for a compensation review 3 times in your first year of employment there? And that can compress the gap from where you were at to where this role is looking to compensate. So don't use that compensation as the absolute barometer whether you should apply or even go forward. Because what you want to do is dig in and at that negotiation of a higher salary, you want to ask about, great, I'm okay taking a step back, but you have to lay out a plan for me on how I can get back to the level I was. If I am who I say I am, can I get 2 or 3 compensation reviews and adjustments in year 1? And you're investing skin in the game and asking for the employer or the potential employer to invest in you as well. So
right, and I clearly respect everything that you've just said. I do, because, for example, in my last position, I did try to negotiate. Once I received the offer, I did try to negotiate everything to extra PTO days, extra additional review after 90 days or 6 months, what have you. I tried to increase the bonus percentage, et cetera. And everything I tried, even salary, besides salary, everything was no, 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 no. So that was my last adventure. And then what you do, it's called pay the mortgage, So I still took the position. And again, my salary in general has been stagnant. I think a lot of it has to do with the economy in general. And it doesn't matter, I think, again, if you're IT or engineering, an engineering degree or IT. I think everybody is still feeling this ripple effect where we're trying to climb back up into a stronger level position, but yet our salaries are not being kept up with the inflation. And I do agree with what you say. I've tried, negotiating all angles of everything else. And again, coming from procurement, we do negotiation constantly as part of our integrity of our job day-to-day, position. And again, when you're told no, 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 no of everything you're trying to angle, it's easier said than done, sir, what you just said. I mean, I've tried and everything was no, no, no. So been there, done that, but you can't give up.
Yeah, no, I understand. That's the key. You can't give up, right? It's that scenario.
I just had a job this morning. A person called me, and the pay was so low, and I just said, I said to myself, it was a wage I made 25 years ago. And the drive, it was a company quite a distance, and it was just not, it just wouldn't be conducive even to think about the job, because I would be in the hole, and be, put a severe wear and tear in my vehicle for the distance of traveling. And so that's what I'm
this will be a great segue into to answering that statement, right? How do I take some time and contemplate this particular offer? Somebody just messaged in and said, I've read that when you receive an offer that you perceive as too low, is it best to say thank you for the offer? May I think about it for a day, then come back with a well-reasoned counteroffer? I would say this: anytime you receive an offer, whether it is in line, exceeds expectations, or below expectations, the response should be the same. I appreciate the offer. Can I please have the day to review this or think about this with my family, and then get back to you the next day? That should be your response every time, right? Unless it's, 500 million greater than what you make today. Don't get me wrong. But asking for time to think about is standard operating procedure, whether the offer is in line, above line, or below. In this case, when it's below, again, ask them, sounds great. Can I have a day to contemplate this and get back to you without expressing your opinions or thoughts or feelings at the time of the offer being extended? Because a lot of times it'll be done in person. The client's coming from it from a standpoint going, we want you to be part of the team. This is a great offer. Whether it aligns compensation-wise or not, doesn't matter. You have to look from where they're coming, and they want you to be part of the team. That's exciting and a positive thing from their standpoint. And if that gap's huge or great, asking for time to process and put together a well-reasoned plan to counter them is completely prudent. So that approach, and I appreciate the chat question, but that approach may lend itself to help you through some of those more tenuous times where the comp's not where you want it to be. What other questions out there? As you'll see from some of the questions that we received so far, there is no perfect answer to it other than be honest with yourself of where you're at. Ask for time to reflect on the offer so you can compare, the benefits program, PTO, is there flex time, some of those items where you may be traveling more, and putting together that, I'm going to steal your words, whoever messaged this in, but taking a well-reasoned approach and counteroffer to say, travel's greater than I wanted, although I'm very excited about the organization. Is there opportunities to work from home or have flex time to augment some of those travel costs? And presenting it that way, not saying they're always going to be affirmative, but presenting it that way a day later may yield itself better results for you. What other questions are out there? All right. As like in all of our job talks, we will stand this audio up at our website for you to review. You can tweet us any questions you have, be available to answer any other questions for another 40 minutes or so after this webinar ends. I appreciate everyone joining us again. Have a great holiday.
Thank you. Thank you.